Welcome to Pop Nerdom. Bam, get the sand running.
Moving. Moving like the sand.
Hold on. You know what? Welcome to Pop Nerdom.
Yes.
Where we be doing talking about nerd stuff.
Yes.
Hanz and I. This is your boy Six.
Your boy Hanz.
And we're gonna start today, as we forewarn you, with the first two episodes from Watchmen.
Watchmen, HBO series.
Fantastic.
Very good.
If you don't know, Watchmen was a comic book in the late 80s. Kind of took... it was kind of really swallowed in the Cold War. Like, the whole thing about the comic book is it was a Cold War... what we were all afraid of during the Cold War, the idea that Russia and the United States were trying to bomb each other, and you didn't know who was going to press the trigger first, and how crazy it was that everything... That's why G.I. Joe was so big. I think we talked about that before here, that G.I. Joe was such a big cartoon because we were living in an era where we had a bad guy that wasn't really a bad guy. It wasn't like terrorists. Like terrorists now, you blow them up. These guys were like playing political games and you didn't know who was going to shoot first. It was a really fucking scary time. Also because the word was they press the button, everybody's dead. Like,
yes, that was the...
Yeah, right. Like there wasn't going to be a ISIS thing where you like...
there was no chance of coming back.
No, like there was just everybody gone. So Watchmen basically is about...
It's set in an alternative timeline, right?
Right. It's about a guy that has an experiment goes wrong and he becomes the one and the only superhuman.
Yes.
In the universe. So everybody went crazy, tried to catch up with it. But what it did is it inspired... There had been superheroes before him in this alternate universe. But it inspired other people to like jump in and be like, yo, we can make a difference. Because he ended that Dr. Manhattan ended the Vietnam War by himself. And Vietnam became a United States state. Like, you know, like it's crazy. Like
and
the
this
way,
is in the comic or
in the comic book.
Okay.
So these things are important now because this affects the show. Because the show is not... So there was a movie in 2007 that was kind of like a shot by shot of the comic book in the panels, but it's missing out on the backstory in the comic books that is told in the form of chapters from a book that's talking about one of the first superheroes from the 40s. And it loses all of that weight. Like, it doesn't have the weight that the comic book had because it's missing a lot of information. And a lot of things in between that you understand why one person acts a certain way is all because they have all these, like, newspaper clippings in the back. You know, like, after every issue, there'll be, like, newspaper clippings and a chapter from the book and maybe an article from a magazine interviewing one of the superheroes. So... at the end of that comic book, unlike the movie, there's a guy, Ozymandias, that wants to unite the United States and Russia and the USSR by creating an alien threat that is going to kill everybody so that people start warring with each other. Because the other thing about Watchmen that's crazy is that because there's a Dr. Manhattan, the Doomsday Clock, which is the clock that counts how close we are to a nuclear war, which is midnight. The Doomsday Clock...
That's why there's so much goddamn... Okay.
The Doomsday Clock that's usually... Like, there's a Doomsday Clock now. We have one. It always exists. It went from, like, 6 p.m. to, like, 11 p.m. So it's like an hour away from nuclear. And then through the comic book, keeps getting closer and closer and closer to midnight because there's a Dr. Manhattan.
And that's why in the show, there's a running symbology with clocks.
With the clocks.
And it ticking and it stopping.
So there's a lot of symbolism with the clock in the comic book.
Also,
in that Dr. Manhattan... So the guy that is Dr. Manhattan is this super smart scientist. He's doing this experiment. He forgets he's the son of a watchmaker.
Yes.
And his father made him a watch. And he forgot the watch inside of the experiment. Like, the experiment is inside of this, like, enclosed room. So he forgets the watch. He goes back to get it. The experiment goes off. And he becomes Dr. Manhattan, who's the blue guy with the big dick hanging out in the movie. If you ever seen the movie, they put a big dick on that guy. I'm just saying, is a big dick. So, it's true.
Blue balls.
Blue balls all over. So, the comic book ends when Ozymandias makes this giant octopus meant to be
The alien threat.
the alien threat. So he hires all of these people, all these comic book artists and story writers, some of the smartest, most creative minds in the world. He collects them so they can come up with what this is, what the story is, and even a filmmaker that's doing like a creating this monster, like a special effects guy, like the most gifted people to create this thing, the story, a background that makes sense, and then he kills them all because he doesn't want nobody to know. And then the scientists that are involved in the thing and him, because he's one of the smartest men in the world, make it appear in the middle of Manhattan, and it's this alien threat. So that's how the comic book ends, and everybody finds out that he's the one doing it, all the superheroes, and they show up to fight him, but he's like, you can't stop me, A, and B, it's already done, so you can't stop it, and B, you really shouldn't, because look at the way we're living. So they're all like, no, but you fucked up. And they look at Dr. Manhattan like, can you stop this? And he goes, well, I can't. And I think, if I remember right, he's like, I don't think I should. Like, he has a moment where he's like, well, I actually can't, but I don't know what to do here. But also, it's not a bad idea to let people unite. And then they're like, at the expense of everybody dying. And then he's like, oh, no, that's relative. And because he can't die, he doesn't really feel that connected to it, if I remember correctly. I haven't read the book in a long time. Anyways, movie happens. This show happens. So this show is a direct sequel to the book. Now, that book happens in the late 80s. I believe 1988, 87 is when the book takes place. The whole reason why they, like, the superheroes have been banned, it's illegal to be a superhero. And the only reason why the superheroes start looking into what's going on is because Ozymandias kills the comedian.
Yes,
The comedian is one of the superheroes, so they will start investigating why the comedian is dead. And it's Rorschach that does it, the guy with the... So in the show, you have all of these guys with this Rorschach mask. He's the character that starts investigating everything because he never stopped being a superhero. Now,
in the show, that's the mask that the 7th Cavalry is using, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So
that's why I was confused, because I was like, wait, hold up, isn't he the first episode? I was like, isn't he
yeah, so that guy, now, a few things that you have to take into consideration about these characters. First, there's a lot of confusion about who these characters are because everybody thinks it's Batman and the other one is Superman. But Alan Moore wanted to write this book with the superheroes, with Batman, Superman, or the Atom, and he wanted to kill the Question. And they told him, you can't kill any DC characters. Because he wanted to kill a couple of them and make sure, like, well, you know, this person has to die and this person has to be, like, fucked up. And they were like, you can't do that. So, DC Comics, Doom Comics, as Hanz likes to call them, had acquired another company a few years prior, in which characters like The Question, which is one of my favorite characters of all time, The Question, Blue Beetle, The Atom, not The Atom, Captain Atom, I think, yes. And a couple of other superheroes that I really can't remember because they're very old. They were from like the 20s, the 30s. So because he couldn't write the DC superheroes, then he wanted to write, but he actually wanted to write about those heroes. And because they didn't really have the rights to those heroes, and because The Question, he wanted to kill The Question, and they were like, The Question has like a very good book right now, you can't kill him. He made characters that looked like, and also the Blue Beetle was part of the Justice League, and him and Booster Gold were like a big deal, so you couldn't kill them. So what he did was he created characters that looked like those. So if you knew who the characters were, you knew who the characters were. But Night Owl, most people think is Batman. He's supposed to be the Blue Beetle with some Batman elements to him, but he's really supposed to be Blue Beetle. So, keeping that into your mind, because a lot of things that you see in the movie or if you read the comic book really make you feel like, well, yeah, that's Batman, but really you should know who Blue Beetle is, so you'd be like, oh, this is why this guy is smart, this is why he's a nerd, this is why he's not like Bruce Wayne, this is why he's kind of a loser and he doesn't live in a millionaire's house, because Ted Cord was not that guy. Ted Cord was just a person. He just happened to be massively smart. He did have money like the Batman, but he wasted it all making all this equipment to be the Blue Beetle. And once he lost it all, he just became like a nobody. That's why in the book and in the movie, he kind of lives in an apartment like in the middle of nowhere. Anyways, the show.
Yes, the first episode, Running Out of Ice.
So the first episode stars in something that most people think is fake.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I should say most people.
Most people do not know. Enough people do not know about this.
So this is something that really happened. A black man got into a fight with a white dude and punched him. This man lived in Tulsa. Is that Tulsa, Oklahoma, which happened to be one of the richest places in the United States.
An emerging black
and it was
city.
Only black people that lived in it. So white men went to the law and said, well, you can just let no nigger punch no white man in the face, because what's going to happen next? Which then the authority was like, well, let me deputize a couple of you guys, and you go over there and you just grab this man. Well, they took that as, let's go kill everybody. And so they did. They walked in there.
With the KKK.
They came with the KKK. They had a personal plane that they came in with which they were dropping bombs.
Yeah,
they really, they killed 100.
No, it was. I think it was like 400.
400?
Yeah.
Right. I think the original number that came out after it was 20-something people. For many years after that, investigation reopened. It was 100 and something people. That was the number, that 120.
Mm-hmm.
Today, we know it was more like 400 people that got killed.
And a whole entire community and
destroyed,
lineage, and just
women, children, whatever the fuck, whoever was there got killed. This was fucked up in the show. They really don't shy away from showing you what the fuck happened.
Nope.
They really don't shy away from showing you that the shit was actually fucked up. They really don't shy away from making it very realistic. I do have one fucked up complaint, and this is personally my complaint. There's a shot where there's a bunch of horses and there's a little kid holding a doll, and he looks really fucked up because he's a little kid. I would have got that kid run over by a horse.
Because he's holding a doll.
Because I didn't feel it was enough fucking debauchery to show you how far people go when they're animals like that. But we didn't need it, really. We really didn't.
Word.
Because it really makes a point. Now, that they show you that. They show you a little kid that escapes. They kill the guy that's driving the car in which he's escaping. And he has the little sister, the daughter of the guy that was escaping. He finds her on the floor. He picks her up.
And wraps her in the American flag.
Right. And then he walks away. But his father had written a note and put it in his pocket.
Watch over this boy.
And that's the note that he has. So that's going to be important later because, well, we're not going to really, I mean, this is fucking super spoiler zone.
Oh, yeah.
So don't even fucking, so that happens to be the guy that now is like the main, kind of like, you don't know who this man is, but you're like following, like trying to see who the fuck he is. Now,
his name is Will.
The Watchmen was about who controls who, right? When you read The Watchmen, it's about does the government control these superpower men? That's why there's that thing, who watches the Watchmen? Who really has the power here? When you have a superpowered superhuman, only one of them, that inspires a bunch of people to put on masks and start shooting motherfuckers in the street and keeping the order. And this motherfucker has like a floating machine, so then you get past the authority. So who really has authority in the world? Like, who's really in command of anybody here? I noticed that this show, there goes that light. I told you it was going to die. I feel like this show, the question becomes, who's safe? The police chief is not safe. The superheroes are not safe.
And also, you have to paint the picture also too, because they're not wearing. They wear masks.
The police officers wear masks. So something happened apparently where the White Knight, where the guys with the Rorschach mask.
It was December 24th. Yes.
Yeah. The guys with the Rorschach mask.
The 7th Cavalry.
Came out and started killing cops, and they shot a bunch of cops. And Regina King, it was one of those cops that got shot, but she's
Angela. Yes.
She's Angela. She's a fucking badass.
She might be Night. I think she's Night Owl.
How? No, her name is Nightshade or something.
Yeah, Nightshade. There we go. No, Sister Night.
Sister Night.
Another
thing that I found interesting about this show is there's a lot of reversal of.
Oh yeah, that was something I wanted you to, like, after you were done with this, I wanted to, like, go in on explaining this alternate universe, because it means a lot more because you're not so used to seeing these roles and seeing how this universe is being. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Because the referdations, you know what I mean?
Right.
So in this universe, Nixon doesn't, like you said, use the atomic bombs. He uses Mr. Manhattan, and then after that, the president, this fictitious. Oh no, I think he was a real person, Redford.
So Robert Redford is an actor.
Oh, okay, but yeah.
So Robert Redford is the guy in Captain America, the Winter Soldier, the guy that's running S.H.I.E.L.D. that says,
"Hail Hydra."
Yeah,
that's Robert Redford.
Okay.
So Nixon is a president for a long time in the comic book.
Yes.
Because once Dr. Manhattan comes out, everything goes out of whack. Now everybody's afraid that Russia's really going to fucking shoot some missiles because they're like, yo, you got a Superman and we don't, and what the fuck you going to do with the Superman? So now everybody's on their toes, and Nixon ends up being a president for like 10 years. So after Nixon goes somebody else, which I can't remember, Hoover maybe? Because they mentioned it in the show.
Not sure, but then it's
Robert Redford for a long time.
Yes.
So he's the president in 2019. There's one of the things that I'm curious to ask you, because I noticed that in the first episode opens up with the whole Tulsa thing, and then he jumps to a white man being stopped by a black cop. Once again,
listening to hip hop.
The reversal, once again, the reversal of positions, right?
Yes.
So he's a black officer with the mask, because they have to wear the mask. Stops the guy, says, can I see your paperwork? Blah, blah, blah.
He's like, can I see your face?
Right. And then obviously the officer feels threatened. The guy's feeling threatened. So the officer goes back to the car and goes, yo, release my gun. So
yeah, because they have to get permission from
to use their
Panda,
guns.
yeah.
Right. So I'm curious. Do you think they're showing you a too left-winged, like a country that's gone too left-winged, and so you lose?
Yeah, and not because the switch in roles, just because officers have to call for, you know what I mean?
But
just
also,
the level of.
I think that's because in their universe, Nixon was a president for so long that we were under too much of a Republican eye. that something like that had to change very extremely. And the next guy that comes in, which is Redford, which is a super liberal guy, goes way too liberal for way too long, and the country's become way too liberal to the point where like cops have to be like, hey, I'm in danger of being shot. Can you release my gun from the car so I can actually not shoot this motherfucker, but be protected? And they show you that too when they go to, this is in episode 2, like halfway through, they go to this like trailer park. And they go to
Knoxville.
Nixonville.
Yeah.
Because he has Nixon with the and then when they go to arrest those guys, none of them have guns. All they have is tasers.
The tasers, yep.
So I'm curious then if the format of the show is trying to tell you the dangers of leaning too left, the dangers of having gone too right for too long. Because I'm really confused as to the mess. Like I'm very uncomfortable with everything I'm watching in the show, but I'm also very comfortable. I mean, I lean lefty, but that's too left. Like I'm like
with the check-in and all the other stuff. But that's why I said that if I would have just watched the first one, first episode, I would have been so confused talking about it because it was so much that wasn't unsaid. I feel like it's still some more unpacking as to the rules and how this 2019 in this universe is governing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm like,
everybody has an electric car. Like it's just like so much shit in it that you like really like, huh?
So I have to see like maybe something happened or maybe the White Knight could be a reason to take away all guns.
From everybody.
40 officers hit simultaneously, all at the same time.
Right. And doesn't that make give you an idea of like you can shoot 600 schools, but when you shoot 40 officers, the guns go away, kind of thing. It's so scary. That made me scared to say right now, bro. Like it's so dangerous the way that they whatever they're showing you seems so scary. Like a world where like if everybody on the left went crazy and got what they wanted, we'll be in a bad place as much as if everybody on the right went crazy and got everything they wanted. And I'm talking about extremes. I'm not talking like the middle. I'm talking like very extremes. I'm quite curious there's a lot of little stories that are going on here.
And lots of little symbolisms and just small little things that shows you, like you said, how far liberal they've gone. Like even when she's in the classroom, right? The map.
Right.
The map. There's a map behind her, and it's confusing because it's not the Eurocentric map.
Right.
Meaning that it's quote unquote actual size, and that the map that we use in the United States, we make it so well that even all the European continents, all that bullshit, that we use a map that's slightly bigger for like ego or some weird whatever conspiracy theory thing. But that's something that I noticed because I was like, what map is that? I was obsessive about this thing because I was so confused, but confused I was intrigued.
Intrigued. Yeah.
That's the word.
And there's a lot of information in it too that you have to understand that the world has changed to understand that.
There's a lot of embellished truths.
Right. And so like you have to be like, what the fuck? Why is this like this?
But you have
like you have to let go of the reality that we live in to Ozymandias in this show, who is played by Jeremy Irons, a.k.a. Scar, original Scar.
Precisely.
God.
What's that song he sings?
Be prepared.
He, number one, playing fantastic Ozymandias, but what the fuck is his deal? Because I know Ozymandias. I mean, the world believes that he's dead because after the octopus thing, Rorschach, once again, spoilers, Rorschach gets killed because he can't understand a world where you can stop something bad from happening. So his thing is, well, if you can't stop the bad thing from happening, kill this motherfucker. And they're like, well, I'm not gonna kill him, like we bring him in, and he's like, kill him or kill me, because Rorschach doesn't understand a
So
world.
Rorschach in this universe is dead.
Well, Rorschach in all the universe is dead.
Okay.
So in the movie too. So like it's just he comes from an abuse. He's basically the Joker from that Joker movie. He comes from an abused childhood, and he's, instead of being an asshole that, kills people and gets away with the thrill, actually no, that's exactly what he is, but he only does it to bad people in his eyes. But his world is black and white and nothing else. There's nothing in the middle. Like, he can't put nobody in jail. He just like, I'm gonna break your neck if I can, and if I can, I'm gonna break all your bones so you can run when the cops are coming to get you. So for that motherfucker, the level of punishment for creating a giant monster that's gonna destroy Manhattan is death. And Ozymandias really disappeared because they're like, you gotta go. So the world believes that he's dead. Meanwhile, he's in this show, like in his show, he's in England or wherever the fuck he is, with all of these clones that he keeps around being his servants, right?
He keeps killing, yeah.
It's crazy, dude. It's crazy that I don't know what the fuck his deal is. He obviously is doing something.
But yeah, because that's in the second episode. The first episode though, because the old guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
He is the little boy, like we were saying, that is in the start.
Mm-hmm.
And also, we find out in the second episode, he is Angela's grandfather through the DNA.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what, like, this is crazy. Like I'm saying,
It just is a lot of information put out at once. So I've seen just each episode once. So I'm sure, like, once the series is over, I can rewatch it all and start catching on different things. But it's a lot of information, dude, all around. Like, there's just a lot of information everywhere. And you can't understand, like, I don't understand what the old man's story is, but I presume to think that he's showing her not everything is as it seems.
yeah, because she's very black and white.
Right, but he's like, everything is not as it seems, so you better fucking pay attention. And he obviously wants revenge for what happened to every black person in Tulsa, because that's where the show takes place.
Yes.
And it's 2019 in that place, and all these white people are being like white supremacists, basically, coming back to be like, yo, we fucking y'all up.
And why they're coming back is because they got they got reparations, which the race is called refederation.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, they've been able to bloom and rebuild themselves, and there's a lot of black people in prominent places and stuff like that, you know what I mean?
Right.
So now they were what was that? The dude with the silver mask, what the fuck is his deal?
He is...
Because they haven't even gone in on any of these.
They just let him be, and they just show you that these motherfuckers are like... But he obviously can break a motherfucker. He can tell who's telling the truth somehow. So in the comic book, there were only one superhero, but they have this... They nudge at the idea that there's people that have superpowers as much as there's people that have superpowers now. Like, people that can kind of really tell who's telling the truth and who can't. People that can... Like, there's a woman in real life that can smell Alzheimer's on people by the way their body changes smell. This is a real person in our world. So in that way, there's like superheroes. And I guess he just can't tell, like, when somebody's lying. He's really good at it. He's very Rorschach-y, though. Like, he's a lot like Rorschach, the character, in that he's very, like, plain, just says, like, whatever he needs to say, like, he doesn't talk too much. And
he does not take off the mask.
He doesn't take off the mask.
He doesn't break character, meaning
but
that's
hold on,
who he is.
Didn't he take the mask on the first episode? He has it like up to here.
He does?
Yeah. When he's talking to Don Johnson, I think he has it up to here, and then he says, "Put your face on." And he rolls
yes,
down.
yes, very true. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
All right. Pause. And then the idea that no one seems to know who like he's crazy because you don't know what his deal is, but he just reminds me of Rorschach. That's all he reminds me
And then
of.
the dude with the red is
Like the communist.
yeah.
He's also like, but that's the kind of superhero that is in the comic book, that were real people that were just like, yo, I'm juiced up to do some justice, but I gotta cover my mask because A, B, or C reason. And
they don't wear masks because like it was, like I said, they wear masks because the white knight and things like that, and it's also because it's a very violent world. It's nice, but it's violent.
And
bro,
so the thing is about Watchmen, the comic book, which is very interesting, is that regular people have a problem with this vigilante, because they're not heroes, they're vigilantes, all of them, right? That's all they are. So most people have a problem with how these people
conduct themselves.
well, seem to have more power than they do. Because like I said, the original Watchmen was about power. Who has the power? And these people in masks come around and they fucking arrest you. And the police don't do nothing. And the people are like, well, who the fuck are these motherfuckers masked up arresting people? Like, who gave them the right? And so I find it interesting that the same ideals have traveled to 2019, even with the police. Like, it's just being exaggerated. So it's at a bigger, louder level because there has been now a history of these heroes walking around, right? One of the things that fucked me up was when it was raining squids.
Yeah, what the fuck? I was just, what was that about?
I think that's something that is a side effect of how Asmodeus like created this octopus to
Could be like I guess like a tribute. I don't know. Maybe like a small.
I guess, but I mean, it doesn't. I don't know what it is, but like it keeps happening, obviously, or it happens enough that they like react to.
They
it.
know what to.
They know what to do with it, right? But that's when you know this is not the movie universe. This is the comic book universe, specifically from that reign. And I think that was the point of the show, to be like, I know you might have seen that Zack Snyder movie,
But
this ain't that. These motherfuckers don't fucking fight. Like, they're not like able to take a punch, hit a wall, and not break 7 ribs. Like, that doesn't happen here. These are people. They just happen to wear masks. And a lot of what this show is doing with that information is just being like, all right, well, you have these people, they wear these masks, okay, cool. But they're still people. Like, there's nothing stopping them from being shot in the face, yet these motherfuckers go out and still do it. So, above the cops, above all these things, there's that. Now, again, this is why I think this is about, everybody keeps saying, are you going to be safe? Are you going to be protected? You know, I don't think that this is about power, unless it is about power too. You think it's about power too? Like, you think it's about like the seventh, what's it called? The Rorschach guys?
the 7th Cavalry.
You think this?
No. I think they're small fry.
So you think this is? Do you think this is about like safety? Because I mean, it starts with this kid watching a movie, and the shit start blowing up, and they put him in the back of a truck, and they send him out, and he's still not safe. And then
honestly,
she's not safe.
Next week I'll be able to tell you, because I feel like next week, this 3rd episode, Will and Angela are gonna have a talk, so we're gonna be able to know more about Angela and her connection to Will, and Will's connection to a freaking spaceship.
Spaceship?
Yeah.
What spaceship?
Thing. You remember he got lifted?
Yeah, that looked like a night owl. I thought that's what it was, like a night owl's owl.
I didn't see it. All I saw was a circle thing come down with a crane, a metal thing, and zzz.
And he's 105 years old.
Yeah. Like, I have more questions than I have, like...
And that's good because I feel like...
I don't know, I'm intrigued, bro.
Right.
I'm intrigued.
I feel like I can follow a little bit better because I know the comic book. But the little bit better that I follow is not enough for me to be like, I got this. It's more like, well, I have some knowledge about the side shit, but the main shit, I'm just as confused. I'm lost like a motherfucker. I feel like...
Yeah, no, but in a good loss, though.
Yeah, no, and I love it because...
Lost at the candy store. Yes!
Yeah, because I'm trying to figure it out, bro. Like, I'm really trying hard to figure it out.
I'm not even gonna lie to you. I can't wait for this episode. This next episode. I'll probably watch it at midnight because HBO does that.
No, they put it on at 11.
They don't do like the...
No, they do it like right after it airs. They put it on the app.
Oh, okay. Boo. I thought on the app you could watch it before.
Like beforehand?
Yeah.
Like on California time? Like at 9 p.m.?
Yeah. You know. There's people in Cali.
I love the show. I think it's fantastic.
I think it's great.
I think it's really well done.
And you know what's funny? It's... You know how your boy Scorn says he was talking about superhero stuff and blah, 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 blah. Look at this. This is...
Yeah, but this is...
It's still superhero. It's
well,
still
I
comic.
understand,
You
but...
feel what I'm saying?
I understand. But, Watchmen is considered to this day a great piece of literature. So it like extends away from the normal... the normal role of comic book shit in that it's supposed to be more
realistic,
impressive, fantastic, bigger, more...
I mean, honestly, I don't see bigger. I think freaking Marvel is big, like, in terms of, like...
No. I mean, in...
But then again, we only seen 2 episodes.
That's true. In the sense of how much it can reach. Watchmen, the comic book, is not considered a comic book. It's considered because it is, and I
Like
I don't.
a graphic novel.
It is a piece of art that happens to be a comic book, and it truly is. It is incredible read.
And Mr. Manhattan is in Mars.
And they show him.
And they show him
in Mars.
And they show him.
And they mentioned that a couple of times. And he says, what's his name again? The black dude. James, Joe? Will says, can't he be in 2 places at the same time? Because that's one thing about Mr. Manhattan is that he can be in 3 places at the same time. Time and space
they exist to him.
They don't correlate to him. He just understands it all as, all right, you think time is linear, but I'm in all times at the same time. So for him, from the moment he started existing to the moment he stops existing, it's the same. It's all the middle.
Suck. That's why they said. That's why they were like, yeah, he's there, like sad or like thinking about life or something like that, like some empathetic or something. You know what I mean?
But he was actually a little bit weird in the comic book, in the movie. So if you watch the movie, which you could, and you can follow through, and I suggest you do, so that you can kind of follow through a little bit better. If you watch the movie, everything is almost exactly the same as the comic book, except the ending. The way that the comic book ends, it's the same result, but it's not the same. It's not the same technique, but it's the same result. In the comic, they have the giant squid. In the movie, they do like an explosion. Same ending, though. It's about the same thing. So, and in the comic book, Ozymandias doesn't look like a bad guy, really. He never does. He doesn't have like an evil look to him.
Did he do with the red hair, right? He has red hair.
He's blonde hair, like blonde hair. Okay. The dude with the red hair is Rorschach. Ozymandias in the comic book doesn't seem like a bad guy. And I don't think he believes that he's a bad guy. I think he thinks you got to go to an extreme to get this shit done. so I'm doing the extremes. So, really, again, it's about power. Again, that comic book is all about power. I think this series is about you have a friend that is your chief of police and you feel safe with him and you go to his house and he has a Ku Klux Klan fucking cape in the closet.
I think this show is going to answer who's watching The Watchmen.
It's us. We're watching it every week. I give this show 20 thumbs up.
I give this show a goddamn why isn't it all out at one time? Highest honors.
Anything else you want to ask me? From other...
No, basically we got it like in conversation.
Good. Let's do a little blitz. Blitz. I'm doing some of the blitz. Blitz. Anyways, so I gotta tell you something. I'm gonna do it here because I don't care. The day before yesterday, I was thinking of a beat in my head, and then I made up a rap for
the beat in your head,
the Quarter Podcast. I can't believe I keep bringing that shit up. He's gonna have to come back.
Nah, that is still unreliable. I was supposed to hang out with him the other day, waiting for his call still.
Okay. Let's blitz it then. Superman finally getting his own TV show from the DC, from the Arrowverse.
No.
Why not?
I don't even like Superman ever in anything.
Me neither. But the Arrowverse is good. You know what? I can't say that because I haven't watched the Arrowverse in a long time. But it's the Superman.
Watching it.
It's the Superman that has been showing up in Supergirl, and him and Lois Lane, and he's ugly.
Yeah,
that motherfucker. He looks good.
No, if it's the one that from Supergirl,
yeah,
he's been the same one all throughout.
Yeah, he has like the weird thing on the shoulders.
Yeah.
Yeah, that motherfucker.
He looks plastic. Like he looked. I don't know. Maybe it was the CGI though. Then again, because when I saw him, he was flying. So, like, maybe this, you know what I mean? Like,
okay. Moneypenny movie maybe in the horizon. The director and the star that plays Moneypenny in the new James Bond won a movie for Moneypenny. Because she actually, if you saw the last James Bond, she's the one that shoots him in the chest.
I don't even remember the last James Bond. They all fused together. They all jumped out.
But how do you feel about Moneypenny movie? Because she in the books and in the books I don't remember because I read the books way too long ago. But in the movies, on the older movies, she's just a secretary. In this one, she's an agent.
I'm with it. If it's done well, why not?
I'm with it. But I thought you hated Black Widow.
No, yeah, but we don't need 3 Black Widows.
Why do we get 5 Moneypenny movies?
I mean, they can do that. I ain't gonna watch it. I might even watch the Moneypenny movie.
You fucked up. You just fucked up. Okay. Game of Thrones showrunners didn't really care about what the fans had to say, and they didn't listen to them. Any kind of shows.
Honestly, bro, I can't even lie to you. I haven't thought of Game of Thrones since that shit ended. That's like a bad relationship. I was happy to put that shit in the behind.
Really?
Yeah.
You won't rewatch it ever?
No.
Just because of how it ends?
Yeah.
But you won't watch like the first 5 seasons and be like, oh, this was so good. Let me leave it right
because
here.
then...
Let me leave it right there.
Yeah, word.
That's how it ends.
When Ned dies, that's where I should have left it at.
Scorsese says that Marvel movies are a new form of art form.
Score.
So I don't think that he's changing his song.
Nope. He's just trying to put flowers around the turd.
Okay. I mean, I appreciate what he's saying because I never disagreed with him so much. It's just a different kind of I just disagree when he said that they have no heart because that's not true.
Yes.
But I think that he has a right to say what he says. And I also think that he's not wrong. These movies are roller coasters. They're like a big spectacle. Is all they are. Even if they have heart, they're still a big spectacle. The new Thor movie is gonna be even crazier than Ragnarok.
I can't wait.
But it's a woman, the lead, right?
Yeah.
Because you seem to be having some problems with women having plenty of movies.
No. That's Black Widow.
So there's two things about Endgame that the writers have talked about. One is that the Hulk and Dr. Banner were supposed to talk to each other, but they never really wrote that. But they had these ideas, they had like a lot of ideas floating. One of them was that when the Hulk snaps his finger and gets fucked up, Bruce Banner is going to come in and talk to the Hulk and I guess make him want to fight. And they abandoned that idea. How do you feel? Have you seen that? Who cares, right? And the other one is that the Endgame was supposed to have a scene. No, not Endgame. The one before Endgame. What's the
Infinity
one where
War?
Infinity War was supposed to have a scene where it's right after Civil War, where Cap is eating mashed potatoes and he's bleeding into it and he's eating it. And Falcon says, "Hey, Cap, you're bleeding into your mashed potatoes." And Captain says he's bleeding into his mashed potatoes, but he keeps eating them. And Kevin Feige was like, "I don't need to see that. That's too much.
Nope. Thank God
it's too much for
man.
a kids movie, right?"
Yep. It's too much for an adult movie. That's nasty.
Sam Neill can't wait to be back in Jurassic Park with the guys from the original movie.
Jurassic Park 15?
Yeah. Who cares, right? Who cares? All right. A couple of things about Star Wars Obi-Wan. This is the Obi-Wan subsection, right? Number one, Ian McGregor knew for 4 years that this story was going to happen.
Fire. That's keeping a secret. You could tell him stuff.
Also, 4 years ago, it was supposed to be a movie.
That's the best thing that happened to it.
And it's only going to be, how many episodes?
4?
6. Fire, right?
Fire.
I don't need any more than that.
Oh, yo, that's great.
And it happens between episode 3 and 4.
Fire.
I'm good with all of this.
All of that.
Yeah, all of this sounds
It
fantastic.
not being a movie because it would have not been good.
Right, because it was being crammed.
That's what I mean by not good. Yeah.
Right, it would have been crammed. Cloak and Dagger canceled.
Welp.
Oh, God. I knew I wasn't going to be able to read this.
Mandalorian, new Mandalorian trailer, fire.
Yeah, Pedro Pascal, speaking of the Mandalorian, Pedro Pascal, who plays the Mandalorian, is playing Max Lord in the Wonder Woman movie. Now, if you don't know who Max Lord is because you don't know comic books, he is a guy that is super rich and he's the mastermind behind putting a Justice League together so he can fuck up shit. And
So like the Legion of Doom?
No. He puts a really shitty Justice League together with like really shitty superheroes and just Batman, thinking that they're gonna fuck up too much, and it ends up happening that Batman is like, "No, I can do this," and he rounds up all these shitty superheroes. He's like, "We're gonna do this now." It's a super funny book, Justice League International. If you can get your hands on it, I suggest you do.
There's a link for it.
Yeah, somewhere. It's fantastic. It's so funny. But Max Lord is this bad guy on the cover as a good guy. And he's playing Max Lord in the next Wonder Woman. He's going to be the big baddie in the next Wonder Woman movie.
I'm waiting for that. That was great.
Mandalorian Episode 1 has a major Star Wars spoiler. In the first episode.
Fire.
They're going to fuck with you. How many episodes in The Mandalorian? Is it going to be 6 episodes as well?
No. It's more
like
than
12,
that.
right?
It's like 12, yes.
Shit, I can't wait, dude. Oh, I see what it is. Keanu might end up in the Fast and Furious series.
Reeves?
Keanu Reeves. Not Keanu.
why not?
Not Keanu the cat from the movie.
Okay, that's what I was thinking about. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Because that's my boy. I like to see him. Not even gonna lie to you.
Okay.
I could see them doing that. They're ridiculous. Why not?
He can be funny. I mean, Keanu hasn't done funny in a long time, but he can be funny.
Personally, I like him as a person.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, but the Fast and the Furious brand is very silly and over the top, and he does over the top, and he can also be silly.
Yeah.
So why not?
Why not? For my final thought, I want to talk about the Mandalorian trailer that we just saw.
Jeez.
Holy shit! So this is what I'm gonna say about that. We don't need a Mandalorian trailer at this point.
No.
Nobody needs it.
But I can't believe they did it. And then they dropped it. And you know what's the crazy part about it? They ain't show nothing, but they showed something.
Yo.
I love how they do that, yo. Star Wars is really good at that, yo.
Star Wars is really good at being like...
They're so good at repackaging the same scenes and just making you think you're seeing a lot, but then they glimpse you with that one new thing, and then you're like...
I feel like they do a really, really good job at showing you shit that excites you. You get excited, like you see every shot you see, you like, oh, but they ain't telling you
nothing
yet. There's nothing in this trailer. Nothing in this trailer
that you can say the stories about this.
Right. All I know is that I saw shit that made me come in my pants. That's all I know. I just came in my pants all over the place.
Motherfuckers was shooting shit and wrestling monsters and driving shit and shooting and driving while they shooting.
There's ships, okay, and there's aliens, and they're shooting.
Mad shooting.
Done.
Cool. Western
style
and that's
shooting.
Noodle. Real.
Yeah.
Gunslinger. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But there's nothing in it that you can be like, well, what's going on with the Empire? You don't know.
You don't.
What's going on with the New Republic? You don't know shit. But even beyond that, like, what's the bounty that he's going? Like,
exactly.
Like, what's happening here? Is he going after one bounty? Is this about all the bounties? Like,
is this one gig? Is it? Yeah,
right. Like, you don't know shit. It's fantastic,
and it's awesome,
and it just looks good. Any thoughts?
Yes, my final thought is, so they've been saying that the Robert Pattinson's suit might be the gray and the blue, which is the one thing that got me excited about this The one thing I heard that I'm like, oh, I like that.
So that's interesting because it really that Robert Pattinson's Batman is supposed to be the beginning of his career as Batman. Now, if you're gonna look at Batman and you're gonna say that was Batman 30 years ago, for me that'd be the 70s. But really, 30 years ago would be the 80s, and they're doing it in the late 90s. But he has a look from the late 60s. So it's all what I'm saying with all of those numbers and all of that time is he's trying to convey an older Batman for anybody that's ever seen Batman that knows the older Batman wore blue and gray. The new Batman wears black and gray. So
it's actually my favorite Batman. My favorite Batman is when he has the black cape, gray, but he has the blue shine on it.
Yeah.
That's my guy.
But you talking comic book wise?
Yeah.
Or? I like the Neil Adams blue and gray. Neil Adams and O'Neill, Dennis O'Neill. Some of the best Batman ever written. Some of the best Batman ever put it on paper. So I'm very excited that they're going to give him that uniform, that costume, although I did not like the mask. It looked...
Oh, no, I don't even think that was a real costume, though. The one I said.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a fan mock-up, but the information is...
That's the colors they're going with.
Yeah, that's...
You think he's going to have armor?
He better.
I mean...
You ain't no real hero now, bro.
No, because, I mean, Batman really... he's supposed to be a ninja, right? So he's not supposed to be wearing all that rubber and shit.
You're not lying. You're not lying. He's supposed to be light-footed, and it's like
Yeah, he's a ninja.
minimal stuff.
Yeah, ninja with a cape.
But
And according to Dark Knight Returns, what's his name? Adam, no. Fuck! Whoever wrote the Dark Knight Returns, the reason why he wears the yellow and black thing on the middle of his chest is because that's the only place where he has bulletproof. It's on the middle of his chest.
oh yes, that's right. So they can see it in the dark and they can shoot there.
Right. And so like the rest of his body, he can still be a ninja and be like, you fucked up, I'm gonna break your neck. Real quick. Let me break your neck. I'm excited for the perspective of him having a t-shirt.
And tights.
And,
A leotard.
I mean,
La licra.
una licra. I'm trying to see because I see my Batmans from here, but I can't remember who wrote it. Anyways, yeah, man. Watchmen. Let's watch the Watchmen.
Yes, let's watch the Watchmen together, guys. It's a community.
It's a community. It's fucking fantastic.
It's really good.
And
watch the Mandalorian when it comes out. Because we're going to be on it.
Yeah.
We're letting y'all know that's the next thing we're going to be reviewing. Just letting y'all know.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to break those episodes down, too. Yeah, man. Peace in the Middle East.
Gang.
That's the end of the video. And bye. Don't forget to subscribe. That's it.